2018 Bentley Bentayga diesel. It hasn't been long since the very idea of a diesel-powered Bentley SUV would have been regarded as the sort of heresy that gets angry mobs lighting up their flaming torches and heading for the creepy castle. Yet the Bentley Bentayga diesel is a thing, albeit one that will be denied to us. And after driving it in the United Kingdom, we can report that the new engine suits the luxurious beast almost perfectly. Highs. Best diesel powertrain ever, refinement, craftsmanship. Lows. Not coming here. It's a Bentley diesel truck. It weighs nearly 3 tons. Meant for America, until . The delay between the time an automaker signs off on an investment and the fruit of that spending reaches the market plays a vital part in this oily Bentayga story. The triple-boosted V8 TDI originally was meant to come to North America in the Audi SQ7 that shares it. And it was engineered to meet all appropriate federal standards. But then Dieselgate happened, and the Volkswagen Group decided that none of its brands would sell any more compression ignition engines on the side of the Atlantic. So the Bentayga diesel finds itself on the long list of awesome cars unfairly denied us. This is a shame, mostly because this might well be the greatest compression ignition engine ever fitted to a passenger vehicle. Technically, the propulsion unit is identical to that in the Audi SQ7. Meaning that it's a V8 displacing 4.0 liters and has sequential turbochargers that use a clever variable valve system to bring the second turbine on boil. These are further assisted by a 48-volt electric supercharger, which is basically a 9-horsepower motor that sits downstream of the intercooler and can spin a centrifugal flow compressor up to 70,000 RPM in less than a quarter of a second to reduce turbo lag to the barest level of detectability. The result is an engine with a character akin to that of the old turbocharged 6.75-liter pushrod gasoline V8 that Bentley formerly installed in cars such as the Arnage. Like that 6.75-liter engine, the TDI isn't built to rev, although it pulls cleanly to its limiter at 5,000 RPM. It does generate enormous load-down torque, delivering the peak 664 pounds-foot over a wide band starting at just 1,000 RPM. Yet the diesel also manages to be more refined than its gasoline grandfather ever was, emitting nothing louder than a purposeful growl even under the hardest use. The biggest difference is fuel economy, which is unlikely to be much of an issue for anyone with the considerable wherewithal needed to fund any Bentayga purchase, but it's still a neat party trick. If this were certified by the EPA, we estimate it would get about 26 miles per gallon on the highway. A figure that, in conjunction with the 22.5-gallon fuel tank, gives the Bentayga diesel a range that can fairly be described as continent-crushing in terms of geographic reach. The torque peak is identical to that quoted for the W12 version, although that's more likely electronically limited by the abilities of the 8-speed automatic transmission, rather than a spooky coincidence. While the diesel is significantly deficient in power by comparison, its 429 horsepower rating is 171 shy of the W12's output. It lacks little in real-world pace. Or, indeed, absolute speed. Bentley quotes a 4.6 second 0 to 60 mph time. We recently ran the W12 model to 60 mph in 3.6 seconds against a claimed 4.0 seconds to 60. The diesel's top speed of 168 mph likewise is some way off the W12's 187 mph, but we suspect that owners will rarely feel the lack. It's also worth noting that we experienced none of the surging or lag we detected when we tested the W12. On everything except cylinder count and peak output, this is the better engine. Ride and handling? Check. The rest of the dynamic experience is close to that of the 12-cylinder model. Driving manners are exemplary, with the air springs and adaptive dampers delivering a ride quality that isn't quite as imperious over bumps as that of the Q7. Though cruising refinement is good enough to make you suspect hearing loss. The Bentayga is capable of generating ample grip when called upon to do so. In our test of the W12, we measured 0.85 grams on the skid pad. And it is surprisingly playful near the limit. Responses are linear and accurate, although there's never any doubting the Bentayga's mass. Bentley says the diesel is slightly heavier than the W12 thanks to the iron block and the additional supercharger. All those pounds become most obvious when slowing down, or, rather, when not. The gearbox has a sail mode that deglitches when the car coasts. And the Bentayga feels as if it could roll several miles on nothing more than its own momentum. We experimented with using the transmission's manual mode to lock it into 8th gear, which created a far more natural-feeling deceleration curve, but also proved that the engine will pull cleanly from just 1,000 RPM. Subtlety not an option.